Have you been pushing through symptoms, anxiety, back pain, fatigue, hormonal shifts, wondering why nothing seems to work, even though you're doing all of the right things? Here's something most women are never told: your body is an intelligent system constantly sending messages. Those emotions you feel, the fatigue in your back, that lingering tension in your chest, it's not random, it's guidance. Today, we're diving into the ancient but often forgotten connection between emotions, energy, and physical health, and how movement, mindset, and inner alignment can help you finally shift what's been stuck for years. But before we dive into this episode, you already know what time it is. Vibe with me, y'all.
Welcome to the Empowered Plates, Empowered Lives podcast.
Y'all, welcome back to another episode of the Empowered Plates, Empowered Lives podcast. It's your healthy habits and lifestyle coach, Jovonnie, helping women who are tired of pushing through pelvic pain, burnout, and unexplainable symptoms finally understand what their bodies are trying to tell them before they lose more years accepting dysfunction as normal. And today's guest is someone whose story will open your heart and quiet your fear. You heard me. After surviving what doctors said she wouldn't, Banya Lim turned to acupuncture, martial arts, and energy healing, learning to move emotion through the body, regulate energy, and rewire her future. She's now a spiritual acupuncturist, energy coach, and creator of the Chai Mastery System, helping people release emotional blocks and rise into soul-led success. Welcome to the Goodbye Studio, Banya.
Thank you. What an introduction. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. So you said your healing began when you started listening to your body. What does it actually mean to trust the body, especially when we've been taught to ignore or fear its signals?
Okay. By the way, my system is a Chi Mastery System. Chi as in being energy.
Yes, ma'am.
I came from a long line of healers within my family, but mainly my teacher is my mom. She's an acupuncturist, healer, and so she's also intuitive in a way, can call psychic in many ways. So I grew up in that environment, and talking about energy connection between mind, body, and spirit is a very common, subject in my family. I realized that wasn't something to easily to talk about when I go outside of home, which I found that when I started going to school. Anyhow, just with that and knowing that, but when I myself were going through a lot of physical issues, that's when realized I really have to um, practice it and get this treat this on me, the things that I've learned within my family. And also I was studying acupuncture at the time. So, and one of the doctors actually told me that he described it was a very serious condition, and he told me if I ever survive it, I would have to deal with this for the rest of my life. The thing is that I had uh ulcerative colitis, IBS, and I was really just dying. But I feel like my body was dying because my body couldn't process anything. Anything that I ate just comes out, and I was pale as a ghost all the time. When I decide to do this, I basically implement three things: acupuncture treatment, martial arts, but it can be any kind of movement, and the third is meditation. And my symptoms start to go away within 3 months. And I had this pivotal moment that there's a direct connection between how I was feeling and how my body was responding. And I had a clear image of me, like when you go to certain restaurants or McDonald's, there's menu on the board, and you pick and choose, like tell the cashier like what you want, right? I realized that I was keep choosing this specific emotion that was detrimental to me. very heavy and very negative. At the same time, I realized I have this array of other options that's on the board that I didn't really even look at it until that point. Then I realized it was a choice. I was keep making that choice because I was comfortable. It's like you keep putting your hand in the fire. If you've been doing that ever since young, no, even though it's painful, you keep doing that for just because it's comfortable and familiar, whatever that might be. But by doing acupuncture treatment, martial art, meditation, I think it gave me this clear awareness by the third month of making all these connections. So I have to say, I'm probably more healthier now in my 50s than when I was in 20s and 30s because of that practice. Not only that, when I start practicing as an acupuncturist, I started to making very clear connection between emotion and body. And also my clients also giving me a lot of feedbacks and information on what's going on in the body. At the same time, what was keep happening was that people would get better and they keep coming back with the same symptoms. I realized it was because they were going back to same lifestyle, same relationship, same patterns of thought and behaviors. I realized unless we go down to the root of it and making deeper changes in people's life, but people are going to perpetuate the symptoms. And this is where my coaching on connection between the body, mind, and soul started. In the beginning, when I was a baby acupuncturist, I would just simply share with my information of what I've learned as an acupuncturist. There is a direct connection between the organs and the emotions. For example, kidneys and bladder. Kidneys and bladder runs the back of the body next to the spine, especially the lower back. And kidneys, bladders, emotion is fear. So I will just simply share with them. I don't know, but what I know is the back pain has a connection to fear. And my clients, the one that will come back, come and tell me their stories, what was happening in their life. And they'll tell me, the day that I started having back pain is when I had this fear of losing my marriage. And lungs are connected to sadness and sorrow. And I would just simply share this information with my clients. And so one of my clients had told me, like, this time that I started having this issue is when I lost my child, something like that. And then over the years, based on the two theories govern acupuncture, yin and yang theory. I'm sure you've seen this round circle with a line in the middle. Basically, there's duality in everything. One cannot exist without the others. If there's a darkness, there has to be light. If there's a left side, there has to be a right side. If there's up, there has to be bottom. If there are men and women, black and white, hot and cold, so on, it's all based on yin and yang theories. And also there are 5 element theories also governs acupuncture. 5 elements of wood, fire, earth, metal, and so on. And based on 5 elements, you can apply it to anything that you know: directions, organs, taste, sound, color, you name it. For example, if you look at wood's element is liver and gallbladder, the organs, and the emotion is anger. And the direction is east side. The taste is sour. By the way, if people want to just look at this chart simply, they can just go to Google and put in acupuncture 5 element charts, and you will find this whole list of charts you can easily find, which are free.
Can I ask you a question, Banya, real quick? And I really appreciate you breaking that down in regards to kind of where you started from, knowing that there's a history in your family of healers, and acupuncture was something that was just I know we can go that route. And then also knowing it's about your thoughts, your mind, your feelings, your beliefs, and knowing that connection. Something that I wanted to kind of break down for people who might not be very familiar with acupuncture or what acupuncture does. Can you say why people choose acupuncture as a healing modality, and what those benefits look like? Especially, I know you talked about IBS. I've also had another guest talk about polycystic ovary syndrome, and acupuncture being very helpful for her in regards to her healing journey as well. Can you just break down what acupuncture really is, why people kind of choose it, and what those benefits look like? And then break down too, Banya, just for those who need to be a little bit more believable. Can you say what some of those symptoms you saw actually be reduced or even kind of go away in those first 3 months of doing the meditation, the acupuncture, and the martial arts?
Okay. Well, acupuncture has been around, as far as I know, is more than 5,000 years. But the oldest record is about 3,000 years, and still practicing to this day. The reason is because it works. And a lot of spiritual part has been lost over the years, I have to say. My mom always said that we have to bring back the spiritual aspect of acupuncture, which has been lost. Really treating a person as a whole. In order to treat them completely, we have to look at the person as mind, body, and soul. And we have to heal on a mind, body, and soul level, not just the physical level. So there is an energetical system called meridians in the body. Like there's a blood vessel, nervous system, skeletal system, and so on. But there's also meridian system where the energy runs in the body. Like it's just similar like a nerve system, but it's different. But I'm sure you might have seen some pictures somewhere, the lines and points on the body. So we believe that in order for a person to live a healthy, happy life, the energy or chi has to move in our body like water without stopping. So we use an to comparison to river a lot, like how the water moves. But the water can get stuck, get blocked by many different things. Sometimes it could be diet, lifestyle, but mainly because of our emotion and our emotion that's based on thoughts, especially heavy emotions. It could create blockages in the channel. Already I told you that kidneys and bladder meridians runs back of the body, and their emotion is connected to fear. So when we have too much fear in a body, it could create damage in your bladder and kidney meridians, which is mostly back of the body. When we have excessive certain heavy emotion, it creates blockages in the channel. So in ancient time, when they found out that, in order for us to live a healthy, happy life, but also there's some connection to practicing of spiritual practice and also spiritual practice of enlightenment, but we can get into that when we have enough time. So this is also part of actually part of martial arts and also spiritual practice that also has a connection to acupuncture. So there are 365 major acupuncture points in the body. 365 that match the number of days in a year. Basically, our body is the microcosm of the universe. Whatever's happening here, it's happening outside. Whatever's happening outside is happening in here. So what acupuncture does is finding those specific points and put needles to unblock it. And let the energy flow again, let the chi flow again. So very experienced acupuncture can check your pulse to figure out which of the 365 points, acupuncture points in the body, to put needles to unblock the block energy within the body.
That
So
is definitely someone that's really in tune on what's happening by just checking the pulse and being able to identify those 365 points and which one needs to be unblocked. Thank you for breaking that down. Like, I've never had anyone explain acupuncture the way you just explained it to me. And so hopefully I know, hopefully the listeners got something out of that too. And then to go back with 3 to 5,000 years ago of this being around, nothing new under the sun, and really all about that mind, body, soul. Can you kind of give us a little bit about what that looked like for you in regards to your symptoms, real tangible things? What were those 3 things that you saw really just kind of diminish or really reduce wholeheartedly when you started doing that meditation,
Mhm.
acupuncture? And
So when I did these main three things regularly, acupuncture, martial art, and meditation, I came to the point that I had saw the clear connection between my mind and my body. And I realized that when make the switch or changes in my mind, I could create the changes in my body. I mean, kind of touche. Like I'm sure we heard something like this some point, but like I actually felt that in my body. And when I start choosing consciously choosing different thoughts and then led to different emotion, that's when my body symptoms start to disappear. I had a lot of indigestion. I had a lot of issues in my intestine, and I had a lot of inflammations in my intestines, and and I had to take some medications at the time. Those symptoms start to go away. Whenever I had any meal, I had to go through like 2 hours of agony because it was so painful, just digesting food. Um, that pain started to go away, and that all those things happened pretty much within 3 months. And I went back by fourth or fifth month, and no, maybe more than that. But anyway, the things that has been diagnosed weren't there anymore. And I remember talking to the doctor who told me that I would be dealing with this for the rest of my life. And I told him like, why, what happened? And he said like, it's, I don't know, maybe it's me. We could be misdiagnosed. No, it can't be because I actually had symptoms. So we could describe a miracle, whatever that might be, but I just didn't have the things that I was suffering from.
I like that. Thank you for sharing your personal story, Banya, because what I feel like is really resonating is that your body isn't betraying you. It's truly trying to guide you. And it guided you back to your acupuncture, your meditation, martial arts being your form of movement to help move that energy out. And it also, like, even when you broke down acupuncture and the emotions and the 5 elements, it talks about unprocessed emotions. They don't just disappear, they have to relocate, they have to get unblocked, they have to be able to move. And you kind of broke down some of those elements. You talked about the wood and the fire. Can you just break them down one more time? So in Eastern medicine, organs are linked to specific emotions, and you kind of broke down what I got down in my notes about the lungs connected to sadness. The back pain is fear. I just want you to make sure that you can break down those 5 elements and what each organ is trying to tell us emotionally. Just because I want everyone to be able to truly understand, learn something from this conversation, not let it be too over the top, but just think, okay, I'm feeling fear, I'm feeling sadness. This isn't just a feeling for me. My body is going to translate these emotions and it's going to affect this organ or this group. Like, I want us to be able to get that deeper level. So can you break down those 5 just
Mhm.
so we can make sure we have them, and then we'll move to the next segment.
So I told you that two main theories governing acupuncture, yin and yang, 5 elements. So there are 2 organs, yin and yang, kidneys and bladder as yin and yang. They are pair. Their emotion, they govern fear.
Mhm.
Lungs and large intestine, also yin and yang pair, they govern sadness. Liver and gallbladder, also yin and yang pair, they govern anger. heart and pericardium. Pericardium is not an organ, but consider one of the uh, major function within the body. So it's yin and yang pair. They govern emotion of joy or understanding of joy. So what did we forget? Oh,
So
spleen,
the joy was
joy is heart and pericardium,
okay.
and stomach and spleen, yin and yang pair. We consider in acupuncture spleen and stomach as major organs for digestion, and they govern worry.
And that's the reason why we can't eat. And we have issues trying to eat when we have this over influx of being worried about something.
Yeah,
Got you.
or getting
Yes.
digestion, whatever that
Mhm. And the liver and the gallbladder.
anger.
Okay, I got it. All right. So for all my note takers, y'all already know the Empowered Plates, Empowered Lives podcast is here to educate and empower. So we want you to make sure you understand the knowledge. And we have the I'm gonna start backwards. The stomach and the spleen with worry, heart
Mhm.
and pericardium, joy, liver and gallbladder, anger,
Mhm.
lungs and large intestines, sadness, and kidney and bladder, fear. All right.
Mhm.
Got it. Good. Thank you. Thank you. So we know that these emotions have an impact and it costs us something. And that's something I really want you all to understand. And I want you to put cost in the comments if you are still with us in this conversation and you're engaging. I want you to put cost, COST. The feelings that you're feeling are costing you something. It's costing a taxing space. It could be something good like that joy that we heard from the heart and the pericardium, or it could mean fear. It could mean worry. Those emotions that you're having, they're affecting these other organs. And so I want you to know that every feeling, belief, thought, they have a cost. And so if you're not choosing and getting the support you need to transfer that energy and those emotions into something positive and productive and optimistic, it could be costing you your health, your vitality, and your worth, being able to get that support to translate those things. So thank you, Banya, for breaking that down. Why do you think that we often are so more comfortable choosing those negative emotions? And how do we start practicing meditation or movement to start rewiring that pattern? Because you spoke on that at the beginning, and I didn't want to stop you, but you saw that it was so easy to choose, like a menu at a restaurant on the value menu, to choose those negative and heavy emotions than it is to choose something that's lighter and positive and more optimistic. What can you help us with understanding why we're so comfortable with that, and how do we shift to doing practices like meditation or finding movement to help us rewire that pattern?
Yes, this is how where my coaching work came in. This is how I developed the coaching work. So I'd realized you have to do a deeper work with the people, because we have a pattern of thought that has formed since when we are very young. Then it became kind of part of us, but also became memory within our body. And a lot of things become unconscious. So we have to go into the deeper part of who we are to bring this up to the surface to be able to look at them. And it takes quite a courage to be able to look at them and work through them. And I really think that people who's working with me is quite courageous, because it takes a lot of energy and power to willing to look at what's underneath the hood. Um, But this is where intuition part comes in. And I told you about 5 elements that I told you. It's organs, emotion, direction, taste, color, everything. When we get to really honor our body, we become very intuitive. And we just follow what our body is guiding us to do. When you wake up in the morning, you don't know why. You have you get drawn to color green for today, but you don't normally wear green, but it just feels right. And you just honor that. Like, Just wear it. Green is not all. Green is connected to wood, and the organs related to is liver and gallbladder, and the emotion related to liver and gallbladder. What I said earlier is anger. So when you have like a lot of anger the night before, when you wake up the next morning, if you get naturally drawn to color green or mixture of green, it actually it's your body's way of telling you that that's the most harmonizing thing for you to wear today. And when you do, you don't know why, but you just feel better. So that's how the color even can work for you. And the direction, let's talk about the direction. The wood organs are liver and gallbladder. The emotion is anger. The direction is east side. And this is a base of a feng shui. I don't know if you heard of feng shui. So anybody has liver and gallbladder issue, their east side of the house is messy. And if you just clear out the east side of the house, you actually start feeling better and feeling different within the body.
And
And
what does that mean, clearing out the east side of the house?
like I say, it's when I say pre-messy, and when over the years, some of my clients who had some ailments related to liver and gallbladder, I tell them to go check out their house and check the east side of the house and what's going on. Most of them report back to me, I have such a clutter on that side of my house, and I had, or someone will say like, that's a place area that I hate going to, or that's a place I have stuff just piled up and I don't know what to do with. Just clear that up or organize. Yeah, those are the only just by doing that you will feel different.
I just knew you meant like figuratively speaking, like go clear out the east side of the house. Like I thought it was like deeper work, not literally check the east side out your
Literally.
house or where you're living and doing that. And so I'm glad I asked. I don't know if anybody else was with me on that one, but I'm glad that you
Yeah,
broke that one down for us, Banya. And I
literally.
like that you talked about and drop the word courage, y'all. And I feel like a lot of times, Banya, when we're having these conversations, one, it takes courage to even choose to turn your pain into power, to
Mhm.
want to go on a healing journey that's filled with empowerment so you can break out of survival mode and go into thriving. Some people don't even know that exists for them. Some people don't even realize that they're not a victim of their body. Some people think that this is what life is going to look like for them for the rest of their life because that's their normal,
Mm.
even though that norm isn't normal. And so I'm really grateful that you brought the word courage into the conversation. Courage to do the work, courage to show up, courage to look under the hood, courage to get to the root of things, courage to be willing to rewire your patterns. And I really like that you talked about that. Patterns of thought, memories, that kind of just, that's how you do things. A lot of things just become unconscious because you're just so programmed to do things a certain way that you don't even realize that you have another choice to do something different, to think something different, to have a different outcome. And so I'm really glad that you brought that into the conversation, because at the end of the day, emotion is a choice and energy moves where that attention flows. And I think that's what's really powerful. And so I want to say thank you for that. Banya, what happens when someone consistently ignores the emotional plus energetic blocks in their body? And what shifts when they finally begin to move that energy intentionally? What actually shifts for them?
You know that our body is constantly talking to us. I know we haven't taught this way growing up, but it's constantly telling us what's going on. And when there is a certain heaviness or heavy blockage in energy channel that happens based on the heavy emotions, our body is still talking to us in a very subtle way. It could be just shortness of breath or tightness in the body, or sometimes little aches in here and there. But eventually, it will start speaking to us very loud. Eventually, it will scream, and we don't want to get to that point. Being able to listening to the subtle messages is where our practice has to be. And when you ask anybody, people will come back and tell you, oh, I remember feeling that way. I felt that in my chest. I felt that in my neck. I felt that in my forehead. And we tend to ignore that. And when we get to really honoring what's going on in the body, which will be a very good habit to form the body, form in our lives, then we'll start to pay attention. Because like you said in the beginning of my introduction, everything might be subtle, but it's telling us something about what is going on. But I know that when we are so much in our head, we forget to feel our body. And I know there are some of my clients that literally do not feel their body because they haven't been learned to detach from it. So we need to really relearn how to be able to listen and tap into the energy of the body. Not only we need courage, but we need some guidance to how to get there. So when we start listening to our body, it will tell us what to eat, where to go, sometimes who to avoid, and which direction to take as far as our work, our relationship, health, and so on. And being able to listen to these cues are part of my Chi Mastery System coaching. And not only be able to listen, but also helping people to utilize body to get to the goals that they want to reach to. It could be a health goal, relationship goal, work goal. The blockage is all in the body, but at the same time, the solutions are also in the body.
I love that. The solutions are also in the body. I feel like sometimes people are looking for this external thing or solution to come and solve their problems when it's really on the inside. The root is on the inside. And most of the times, by the time it gets on the outside, it's telling you, hey, you've been ignoring me long enough. Let's go on the journey of figuring out what this looks like to truly address it at the root cause. Something else you said, Banya, when you were breaking that down was we've lived a detached life from our body and not quite sure how to connect with it. For someone who may not know that they're living detached from their body, can you give us like 3 examples of what this might look like?
When you're trying to find answers to, I think since we're young, we've been taught to find answers outside of us, listening to outside, find answers from other people, listen to your teacher, whatever they might be. But no one told us, like, listen to your body. What is your body telling you? What is your heart is telling you? No one actually told us that. And just by doing these things, just this what I just said, just listening to what is going in the body. It's just as simple as when you wake up in the morning, just pause, slow down, and see what your body is telling you for what to eat for breakfast, where to go, who to call today, which book to read, which way to drive to the work, whatever that might be. If you have several options, put that option in front of you on a piece of paper, put your hand over those and see how your body responds. Whichever feels most peaceful and calm, that is the direction. And there's also some of the qigong and martial art practice that help people to be in the body. And one of the very powerful area to focus is we call in Chinese they call dantian, Korean they call danjeon, Japanese they call danten, or hara. Hara is right below your belly button. It's close where the second chakra is. And this is a part, also there's a very important point. I told you there are 365 points. This point, every 365 points has name, and this point is sea of energy or chi high. This is an area that you can gather energy, but also you can tap into the energy that you need. You need. This is the access point, and this is a point that you can actually focus to ground yourself. If you feel like your energy is all outside, but you want to be able to come back here, be center, focus on that point. And if you cannot focus on the point, put your hand there. If you cannot do it, and there's actually specific qigong martial art practice, actually you tap on that point. And literally physically tap on that point so your mind can go there. Because energy goes where mind goes. By bringing your mind in on that spot, you can be able to focus, gather the energy in that energy spot. And also, this is one of the fastest way to ground yourself and center yourself and come back into the body.
Thank you for that, Banya. I got that down. Pause and check in to the body. And if you have a hard time, just pause and start there. And I think that's very powerful because I don't think we do enough pausing. I don't think we're still enough. And I think that's very important for us to take that pause, to check in, to understand what's really going on in regards to energetic blocks and what's happening emotionally, for us to really understand how to go from resistance to flow. You shared that mindset was the key that changed your body. What does that transformation look like in real life? And why is emotional mastery often the missing piece in physical healing?
Mm, mm. Because I think we are living in such a heady world, and we value this part so much that when we are in the head region, we focus on doing and having, and we forgot to be. And I think most of people are kind of lost in the sea of wanting to have and wanting to do something all the time, and they forgot to be. So often I ask them, like, what do you want to be? What is the ultimate being part you're looking for? If you have this, what do you think you will be? If you do this, what do you think you will be? So the formula is actually the other way around. When you finally be, you can be able to do, you can be able to have. So not so much focus on doing, be first. And doing part will come naturally for you.
That's my favorite bar so far. That hit. That one hit. Because I do agree with you. In your head, we feel like I need to be doing and I want to have these things. And you truly get so caught up in the future and what you're striving for that you don't sit back and just embody what that already looks like. And I've heard people say, if you want this or you want that, go ahead and start becoming. See yourself as that person already. Start acting like that person, making those types of decisions. And it will eventually come into fruition because it goes right back to what you said, Banya. You're now in the being. And so be you so you can do and have the things that you need. Y'all comment the word be. BE in the comments if you're still vibing with us in this conversation. I love that one, Banya. And so let's kind of get into the role of movement because you went with martial arts. And some people, I don't want to get the names wrong. You already had to correct me before, but I'm gonna be a risk taker like Qigong. Qigong, there you go, Qigong. And so many people have done different things. There's more than just yoga or Pilates or walking. Some of those traditional things you hear, but you chose martial arts, and you kind of hinted at some of those benefits. But I kind of want to just ask you, what role does movement, not just fitness, but intentional energy movement, play in regulating our emotions and our nervous system?
Mm-hmm. Acupuncture, martial arts, movement, meditation, I think all these are all go hand in hand. Ultimately, which all this has been developed thousands of years, trying to find sense of peace within us and find a way to come back in here. In ancient time, they realized that in when they move their arms in a certain way, they realize they're opening up a lung meridians or large intestine meridians. This is how came about qigong exercise, tai chi, all different martial arts. And when you go to my Instagram, I actually have some of the very simple and quick qigong exercise to help release fear, anger, sadness, worry, and so on. So through movement, you can be able to open up these meridians. And there are very specific movements. And I realized that people don't have to necessarily have to learn all of this. Just by activating the energy within your body will do its work to open up the meridians, open up the block areas. And science already been proven that uh, with the two groups, the people who have a depression or emotional issues, ones who haven't regularly exercised haven't been improving in their symptoms in very quickly, because when we move our body, energy naturally helps open up the block energies within the body, basically helps open up the meridians, like getting acupuncture in some way. So, but I did very specific exercise to help open up the meridians that's based on Qigong and Tai Chi, which is also very much based in acupuncture meridian system. And I also share that in some of my YouTube and Instagram.
Gotcha. And y'all can check that out in the show notes as well. And so, for the woman listening right now who feels disconnected, anxious, or numb, what's the first step to learning how to listen to her body again, Banya? Because you just broke down stillness is medicine, but so is movement. What's that person who's feeling disconnected, anxious, or numb? That first
Mhm.
step to learning how to listen to their body's energy again.
First, I totally understand. I've been there, and we will go through that time to time. And it's natural to go through that. It's not unnatural to go through that. First, accepting that and knowing that it is okay. And I know it is not easy to jump from 1 to 10. It's like somebody telling you, just be happy. What is wrong with you? And I know it's not easy as just switch out and change our emotion that quickly. But I think it's good to just make time to just once again pause and slow down and just come back in here and to find a way to change our energy by moving our body. Just move our body from living room to bedroom, your energy changes. Just by going outside of the house, change our energy. It's just a little increment, but ultimately, I think we are trying to get to the point. The place we are trying to get to the point is all the same. It's actually self-love. No matter how grandiose it might sound, it's a self-love. But we cannot jump the hoop, but get there right away. So let's just start from self-like. There has to be one area, one part, or more than one area that you like. Focus on that part and breathe in and out and slow down and make time to be still. Meditation is not about holding your hands, stretching your back, and doing om. It's about building a relationship with yourself. So
Mm.
be interested in yourself, sit down with yourself, and have relationship with yourself by having inner dialogue with your eyes closed. So check in, like, what's going on? What's going on today?
That was good, Banya. I hope that woman feeling disconnected, anxious, or numb listening right now knows that one, meditation is just simply building a relationship with yourself. But two, understanding that you need to identify what you like about yourself, get to knowledge of that so you can go from self like to self love. And that really resonated, Banya, because it took a 4-hour surgery for me to be diagnosed with stage 4 endometriosis, adenomyosis, polycystic ovary syndrome, and they found 2 small fibroids in my uterus at the time. And I wouldn't have never known it was how I was living, the lifestyle, the choices, the relationship, having a health background. It just never resonated that those types of decisions, habits, patterns in my life, being a people pleaser, lacking boundaries, just always showing up for other people and not being able to truly show up for myself, and knowing what that even looks like to show up for yourself and choose you first before others. That takes a lot. And so I'm really glad you talked about acceptance, and being able to have the opportunity to pause and reflect. If this is something that my future self would appreciate, is this something that I deserve to really lean into more than choosing something else? And so I really like that you broke that down for anybody that's listening, that could potentially be feeling disconnected or confused and want to just feel like they can get back in control of their body's energy again. And I loved it because it was a self-love journey for me. Like at first it's it's about healing. It's like, what can I do to not have to see this endometriosis spread and come back? What can I do to reduce this chronic inflammation that my body has been in a state of? And it was through mindset, mindful eating, and movement. I saw it with my thoughts, my feelings, my beliefs. I saw it in how I responded through to relationships and then distancing myself. I saw it in regards to what I was eating, taking a lot of those inflammatory foods out and really choosing a different relationship when it comes to food and how my body responded to foods over time. Then it was also looking at how I was moving, getting to walking and just walking, being able to be that place where I just started to feel so much better and more energetic just to start my day because I'm getting the endorphins flowing. I'm getting outside, like you just said. Sometimes it's just moving from outside of the house, from in the house to outside of the house, from this room to that room. And I love the breakdown of how you chose your movement and how it really connected hand in hand. And so I call mine the M to the third degree healing empowerment formula. You have your system as well. But again, it all goes back down to lifestyle and choosing self-like that leads into self-love. And it just embodies this healing journey where we start to see that our body's messages, those symptoms, the way it's talking to us, talk back and say, hey, thank you. I appreciate this. This is working. Give me more of this in the way that it's coming back. What are some of the most powerful body cues people typically overlook, Banya, and how can we begin to respond to them instead of suppressing them?
This is so easy, but also we can notice it. It's just shortness of breath. We can catch ourselves very quickly and easily. And that's a very important cue for us to notice. And oftentimes, maybe people around you might notice it more than you do or quickly than you do. But you need to start paying attention to yourself. You can catch yourself, and that's usually your cue to just decompress and slow down and take a breath and pause. Yeah.
Take a breath and pause. I think that's powerful because a lot of times we hear people choose deep breathing just to try to get that control back, to get grounded, to really control when you feel like your breathing is kind of all over the place. And so I like that because it also reminds us how powerful the breath is. And so when we're short of it, it might just be cueing our body or letting us know that, hey, you're getting a little short in regards to your power, and you're not recognizing where your power truly lies. And so what's causing this shortness of breath and the way that body speaks to you. Banya, you work with energy for decades. What have you learned about healing that the Western approach it just kind of often miss?
Um, I think it's coming together now, but I think it needed to be like this for a while. Things has been too compartmentalized. Like there's eye doctor, nose doctor, foot doctor, and they'll look at it as if this part is not connected to the rest of the body. Where we look at it as it's the whole system. There's a connection to one another. Everything that has happening in the body has a connection. Whatever happening in your hair has a connection to what's going on your foot. Whatever's happening in your back has a connection to your liver, and so on. Being able to see this connection, I think, is help us to leading to the sense of oneness. And then going back to this healing journey is about self-love, but also knowing about our bodies also help us to see the oneness, that how we are all connected, and also how each part of our bodies has a connection to one another.
Thank you. Sense of oneness. If somebody's listening and their body is whispering right now through symptoms, emotions, or exhaustion, what's one thing you want them to remember, Banya?
Exhaustion, oneness. You know what? We underestimate the power of water. Water and the breath, maybe two things. When you do the conscious breathing, earlier I told you about shortness of breath, because we don't pay attention to this breathing because it's automatic. But when you put your consciousness in your breath, consciously breathing, it make a huge difference. And the second part is water. When you're drinking water, and good water, enough water, but have putting sense of consciousness in the water, like even saying simply thank you. Thank you for letting me drink this water to nourish me. And even just having some practice or drinking enough water throughout the day or week, it will make a huge difference. But it's conscious breathing, but also conscious drinking of water.
Thank you, Banya. Water and breath. Y'all, your body is not a problem to fix, it's a partner to listen to. Banya, we're going to get into the vitality sparks round. So, rapid fire closing, real quick responses. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. One emotion most commonly stored in the body.
Not feeling secure.
One movement that instantly shifts your energy.
Twisting your body side to side. It opens up your liver and gallbladder meridians.
A daily ritual that connects you back to your center.
Drink conscious drinking water, conscious drinking. Put your thought into it. Thank you. I love you, or whatever the healing that you want to receive, put it there and drink.
What does trust your body mean to you in one sentence?
Trusting your body means listening to your body and feeling your body and get used to noticing what's going on in the body and paying attention. It's going to be a practice. It might not happen overnight, but it will get better as we practice focusing on the tension and everything going on within the body.
What does healing feel like in your body?
Gentleness, kindness, that we are being kind to ourselves.
I like it. All right, on your last two questions, give some insights for the girl dads, the father figures, the male role models, the partners, the spouses of those dealing with pelvic pain, heavy periods, fibroids, endometriosis, adenomyosis, polycystic ovarian syndrome. How could they be more part of the healing journey?
Especially women. Did you say female going
I said,
through?
how can males be a part of
Yeah.
the healing journey for those females dealing with
You know
those?
what? We've emphasized so much about men being strong and tough,
Mhm.
but we don't realize that actually true toughness and strength comes from gentleness and softness. And I think men are starting to realize that, and I hope they don't really understand what that is. But the true strength of men come from being gentle. And don't get shy about tapping into that energy. Being gentle and soft and sensitive is not a weakness. It's actually a strength.
All right. So y'all heard it. Male role models, father figures, bring that gentleness into the picture and into the space of those loved ones dealing with pelvic pain, fatigue, heavy periods, endometriosis, adenomyosis, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and fibroids. Banya, if you could have a meal with any historical figure, who would it be and what would you all eat?
Oh, that's hard. It changes actually every year. Um, I grew up as a Buddhist, and Buddhist, the teaching is very much instilled in me, and also that work that I do. But not too long ago, recently, actually, in my meditation, this energy of Jesus came in. I don't know what that meant exactly, but there's some connection there, and I think I have a certain awareness through that. So I would like to have dinner with him to ask him some questions.
What would you all eat? What would you and Jesus eat?
Well, I mean, fish come into my mind. Could be fish and bread.
You're not the first to say that one on the Empire Plates, Empire Lives podcast. I like it. All right, Banya, let everyone know where they can find you and connect with you.
They can go to my website, banyalim.com, BANYALIM.com, and all your audience are offer free clarity sessions if they like to connect with me.
I love it. Thank you, Banya. I appreciate it. Thank you for being an amazing guest on the Empire Plates, Empire Lives podcast. Y'all, if this conversation sparked something in you and you're ready to spot your inflammation triggers and rebuild your vitality the natural way, the Spot Your Triggers quiz is linked in the show notes. So I want you to leave with this. Your body is speaking. Your energy is guiding. Are you listening? It's your Healthy Habits and Lifestyle Coach Jovonnie, host of the Empire Plates, Empire Lives podcast. Thanks for vibing with me, y'all.